Israel pushes for U.S. strikes on Iran as Trump signals preference for diplomacy. By Hello News USA, International Affairs. Israel is actively urging the United States to launch military strikes against Iran, but President Donald Trump remains reluctant to authorize further attacks, according to a report published Tuesday citing senior U.S. officials. Multiple high-level Israeli officials, including Israel Defense Forces Chief of Staff General Eyal Zamir and Mossad Director David Barnea, have reportedly traveled to Washington in recent weeks as the United States increases its military presence in the Middle East. The visits come amid heightened regional tensions and renewed concerns over Iran's nuclear program. Despite Israel's pressure, U.S. officials say President Trump is not convinced that military action is the right course at this stage. "It's really the Israelis who want a strike. The president is just not there," an anonymous U.S. official told Axios, adding that recent meetings failed to shift either Trump's or senior U.S. military leaders' positions. Over the weekend, General Zamir reportedly briefed Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Dan Kane, on Israel's war plans. However, another U.S. official emphasized that nothing came out of that meeting to change his or the president's mind on attacking Iran. President Trump, while signaling restraint, has continued to issue warnings to Tehran. On Monday, he cautioned that probably bad things will happen if nuclear negotiations fail, referencing the deployment of what he described as the biggest and best U.S. Navy warships to the region. The situation recalls the dramatic escalation of June 2025, when Israel, with backing from Washington, carried out a 12-day military campaign targeting Iranian military and nuclear facilities. That operation resulted in the deaths of senior Iranian commanders and nuclear scientists and caused significant damage to civilian infrastructure. Iran retaliated with missile and drone attacks on Israeli military and intelligence sites before the United States launched strikes on Iranian nuclear facilities, effectively collapsing ongoing nuclear negotiations at the time. Now, diplomatic efforts appear to be back on the table. Talks between the United States and Iran are scheduled to take place later this week, according to the White House. "I just spoke with U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff, and these talks, as of right now, are still scheduled," White House spokeswoman Caroline Leavitt said Tuesday. President Trump always prefers diplomacy first, but obviously it takes two to tango. Witkoff was expected to meet Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi in Istanbul on Friday. However, Axios reported that Iran has demanded changes to both the format and location of the talks. Tehran is now pushing for direct negotiations and wants the venue shifted from Istanbul to Oman. Earlier reports suggested that representatives from Turkey, Egypt, and Qatar might join the discussions. As diplomatic maneuvering continues, the divergence between Israeli and U.S. approaches underscores growing uncertainty over how the standoff with Iran will ultimately unfold, through negotiation or renewed conflict.